All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Chris Crenshaw, and we are live from the 336, once again for episode 145 of the 815 Exchange. And well, here we are. And I honestly, I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do now. I walked across the stage this past Saturday. And now my life is vastly different as I no longer am attending UNC Charlotte. But I am grateful. I'm grateful for all of the memories. I'm grateful for all of the times. I'm grateful for literally everything that school gave me. It gave me this, even though, of course, I think the first couple episodes we filmed here. But most of the episodes, if you've been here since day one or you've been here earlier on in the 145 episodes we've done of this thing, most of them have been live from the 704. And more will be live from the 704 in the future, don't worry. But, yeah, they won't be college edition anymore. We won't be on the blue couch. We won't be on the black couch. Won't be any of that. So, yeah. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful to Charlotte for everything. The city, the school, my professors, because I had some absolutely amazing ones. The people, my friends who I love endlessly, and just all the memories for the 4 greatest years of my life. Now, because I know we have some younger people as well watching this, college is not an end-all, be-all, right? It's not the end of the world if you don't go to college. Many people have been successful, and did not go to college. They did not, graduate. They didn't do any of that. But for those of you that are going the college route, I co-sign it 100%. I know I certainly found myself through my 4 years at UNC Charlotte, and yeah, you grow just tremendously and you become your own person. So yeah, just super appreciative of all the time and the effort and just everything. So, yeah, want to start off saying that. Now, I have to preface this episode, if you can't already tell, my voice is absolutely destroyed after 3 days, essentially, of celebrating, even though I drove back home to the 336 yesterday. So, my voice is cooked. If I sound hoarse, that is why. So I apologize in advance. I will try to tough it through because I got to get an episode out to the people. The people need their 815 Exchange episode, and I got to deliver. I pride myself on being dependable. So we are going to deliver an episode. Hoarse voice cracking probably throughout this episode. All of it. We got my water here. I've been drinking tea. Listen, we're going to thug it out. But, yeah. We also want to talk about somebody that probably shouldn't be thugging it out, but we'll talk about the NBA segment much later. As always, though, if you want to skip right ahead, timestamps and everything you are looking for in this world can be found in the description. So all of my social media links, if you want to see eventually, whenever I can get the grad photos, Father, wherever you are, or just anything you want to follow my day-to-day or any of the new content coming out since I guess the chains are off of college and I can do more with this. But yes, yeah, all of that can be found in the description, timestamps, NHL, entertainment segment, which is really Succession. Hell, if you want to go to the Roundup and talk motorsport or combat sports, we got that too. Timestamps in the description. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. Now, without further ado, I've done this intro long enough. It's been almost 4 minutes. Let's get to it, alright? We're going Champions League first because we had Champions League semifinal action. And I saw some of the highest quality football, I must say, I have seen in some time in a 1-1 draw between Real Madrid and Man City. All right? It was a 1-1 draw, but it was some of the best soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, I have seen in some time. It was just high quality. Vini Jr., listen, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yo, I guess in form right now, sure, you could say him and Haaland, who's the other major player, right, in this game. Or I should say in these 2 legs, even though he didn't score on, Tuesday. But nonetheless, they're the 2 young stars, that people have tabbed as one of the, future best in the world, current best in the world. I ain't putting them, I'm not going to, I'm not going to put them on Mbappe's level yet. But the form they're in right now is very, very close. You could honestly, they've been in better form than Mbappe. But of course, we're not talking about the whole who's the best young player discussion, who's the future best player in the world. We're not doing that right now. But I have to give Vini his flowers. All right, he's been tremendous, especially the past 2 seasons. He stepped up and become that guy that they thought they were getting when they signed him as a teenager out of Brazil. He has emerged into that, honestly, the best left wing in the world. And yeah, he was a threat. Scored a banger in this game. KDB also responded and scored an absolute banger in this game. And yeah, it was a banger of a game, to be honest. It was just a really, really, really good game. A very exciting 1-1. It was just like attacking back and forth. It was like a very competitive chess match in a way. Like there was no like lull moments. It was always tense. So yeah, I think this is really the Champions League final here. We're getting in the semifinal. So yeah, that first leg did nothing to disprove me of that. We will see what goes down in the second leg. Inter Milan, though, struck first and struck early against AC Milan in the Milan Derby here in the other Champions League semifinal. Edin Dzeko and Henry Mkhitaryan scored, I think, in like twice. Yeah, they got those first two, I think, in the first like 11 minutes. I think the 8th and the 11th. But yeah, they struck early. Milan played a little bit looser than maybe they usually do. Tried to, open the game up, but Inter countered. They went up 2-0, and they just kind of cruised. The game was pretty even overall. It's just that Inter took advantage of those early opportunities, got a nice lead, held on to it, got the clean sheet, and yeah, put themselves in a really, really good advantage in a really, really good position to potentially advance to the Champions League final for the first time since the 2000s. So yeah, good start for Inter. We will see what happens. 2-0 is not a firm lead. It's definitely not in the Champions League where anything can happen. But yeah, Inter, great start. We will see what happens. That was Champions League. Let's talk NHL. Of course, the NBA is getting the main, you know this, so we're talking NHL first. And of course, I got to talk about my Carolina Hurricanes. We got to talk about my Carolina Hurricanes. Shout out to Jasper Fast, because he closed the show. Now, the Devils, credit where credit was due. It was always going to be a very competitive series. We talked about this last week. The Hughes bros heated up, struck back, but unfortunately, we held it down for the next two. And yeah, we took out the Devils 3-2 overtime. I think this was like game 5 or game 5, I believe. Might have been game 6, but I think it was game 5. I think we won 4-1. But anyways, Fast got redemption for missing one he probably should have had earlier in the game. I think that's fair to say, missing the open net breakaway, but it's all right. Got it back. Freddie Anderson was just a wall in this game. 27 saves. I think he had 931 save percentage. I have written down here. Yeah, he was the guy. He shut it down. We need Freddie to be like that for the rest of the the playoffs. We want to make a nice little cup run here. But overall, love to see it. Hurricanes move on. Who will we be playing? None other than the Florida Panthers. Yes, Toronto. The 6 is finished. All right, it's done. Marner, Matthews, they all disappeared. They were all ghosts. All right. This one also went to overtime. Bobrovsky, another game, overtime, 3-2 finish with the goalie playing out of his mind. Bob was even better than Freddie, and Freddie had a great game. Bob had 50 saves and a .962 save percentage. Stood on his head. Nick Cousins gets the overtime winner for Florida. They outclassed Toronto every step of the way in this series. They were it. All right, this was never close. The Maple Leafs did not show up to this series, and yeah, when your superstars, especially in the playoffs, they don't show up, you got nobody else to lift that load. You're finished. Panthers came through, business as usual. Took them out, I think, in 5. And yeah, they're headed to the Eastern Conference Final. They'll take on the Hurricanes. We will see who goes to the Stanley Cup. Now, what about that West side, man? What about the West side? How about the Seattle Kraken? The Seattle Kraken take out the Dallas Stars 6-3 in Game 6. Jordan Eberle played out of his mind. 2 goals, 1 assist. Tolvanen also 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists for him. Yanni and Matty Berniers, who was a man unleashed, both had 2 points. And yeah, like I said, big game Yanni. Gordy did his thing. The Kraken played probably their most complete game of the series. Got the win over the Stars. Forced a Game 7. They got the momentum. It's going down tonight, so as you're watching this, it might be going on or it might be over. This one feels, the Kraken, and it just seems like something about these expansion teams. They just have this magic in their first couple years. I don't know what it is, but they seem to work out. So them with the momentum, I actually think I might side towards the Seattle Kraken, taking it here and advancing to the conference final here in the Western Conference, taking out the Dallas Stars. But Don't rule out the Stars, but the momentum says Kraken. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Game 7 tonight. Eberle played out of his mind, though, here in Game 6. One that's not going into a Game 7, however, is the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. Listen, I praised the Oilers last week. I was like, they're not the Angels, but they're not the elite, you know? They're not the elite. They got the best in the world. 2 of the best in the world, but they are not elite. But you know who was elite in Game 6? Mr. Marchese, Jonathan Marchal, hat trick. A hat trick in Game 6 to seal the deal for Vegas. They get the win of 5-2. I think Edmonton was up 2-1 at some point in this game, and then Vegas reeled off 4 unanswered. It was done. All right, they said no Game 7. We were playing no games. We're closing this out. Marchese, like I said, he was, perfect 10 in this. Perfect 10. And yeah, they had no answer. He gets the hat trick. Vegas moves on. They will take on the winner, of course, of the Game 7 matchup between the Kraken and the Stars tonight. And we will see next week what is going on in the conference finals. We also had the NHL Draft Lottery, I believe, last Monday, which included the Chicago Blackhawks, much to the ire of every other fan base in the world, besides the ones in Chicago, of course, winning the Draft Lottery and winning the rights to Connor Bedard. We will see what happens. What a way to go from Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews to Connor Bedard. Congratulations. Congratulations, Blackhawks. Hope you fix what's going on in the organization, though, because it's a little bit scummy, and that's why a lot of people didn't want them to win it. But, we just kind of had a feeling naturally the big market will get the number 1 overall pick. Not that I'm claiming anything, nefarious happened. We'll talk about nefarious stuff that's in boxing and that's in the Roundup. But the Blackhawks win. I kind of wanted to, like I said last week, see him and Zegras, be it Bedard and Zegras, but instead we get Fantinelli and Zegras, so that's still pretty solid. Anaheim got the 2nd pick. The Yotes got screwed, but yeah, NHL heating up. Conference finals up next. It's going to be very, very interesting. Entertainment. Which, if we're being honest, ladies and gentlemen, is really just, it's Succession. All right, we're talking Succession. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I am blatantly obsessed. It was election day for the Roy family, which was a major, major event. The first one post-Logan, but Logan always wins even in death. Even in death, Logan Roy wins. In this episode, Roman Roy finally struck back, okay? He finally struck back. He's had a rough go of it. But Roman struck back, and he was the most smarmy, unlikable person in the show, which is saying something because all of these people are pretty much terrible people. Close to no redemption, but boy, oh boy, did Roman put in a shift yesterday. Yeah, he was just terrible. He was terrible, horrific, but he was almost Logan-esque, and it won him the day. He got Mencken, the conservative Republican candidate. He got him the presidency. He made up the little deal to make sure that he was good. He won the day. He won the day, so congrats to Roman. But yeah, Roman and Mencken being kind of butt buddies, it was so smarmy. But man, Kieran and Culkin is so good. So good. Kendall sold his soul, of course, in the final decision to go with Roman, with Mencken, simply because Shiv lied. Shiv got caught up in a lie. Shiv fell apart in this episode, all right? This was a nightmare for Shiv fans. She panicked and told Tom that she was pregnant, and Tom didn't really believe her, or half believed her, or felt she was kind of like scheming. Her plot against her brothers got revealed in brilliant fashion by Greg, who needs to stop you just stop underestimating Greg, all right? He's playing everybody. Greg is playing everybody. He is still somewhat aloof in Greg, but he's playing everybody. He's playing all sides. He's playing Lucas. He's playing Roman. He's playing Kendall. He's playing everybody. He's playing all sides, so he wins. He's playing Tom. He's playing it all. All right? He's a savage. He's a Roy, just like everybody else is Roy. Okay? But yeah, Shiv crumbled. Lied when Kendall was finally looking to open up and affirm and make the right choice because, his daughter, what they were going through. Do I sell my soul to this candidate who is not going to protect them, but will kill the deal ultimately, which is what he cares about most? And yeah, he was looking to Shiv. Shiv failed him, so he went with Roman. And yeah, we're going to see. But as we know from watching Succession, he who wins the previous episode takes a great fall in the next episode, and Roman is supposed to be on cloud 9 for next episode, doing the eulogy for his father. So I'm expecting him to to take the fall. All right, I'm expecting him to take the fall next episode, but we will see. But it's the best show on telly. I can't affirm it anymore. And yeah, another great episode of Succession. Music, which has pretty much just been NBA YoungBoy versus Durk this entire week. YoungBoy dropped his 51st album of the year, his 22nd of the month. He produces music at a ridiculous output. It's not even that I don't like YoungBoy's music. I like YoungBoy's music. I really do. I'm just not going to listen to album after album. If you drop 3 albums in 2 weeks, I'm not going to listen to it. I'm not. There may be some hits I'm missing. I'm just not. I was actually going to listen to this one, but I was just like, he's doing too much. I'll come back to it. But yeah, he dissed half the industry, just doing a bunch of. It's just it was all over the place. Some of it sounded pretty solid, but listen, it's oversaturated, bro. It's just oversaturated. I cannot listen to as much music as he produces. I respect the work ethic, but he is not as versatile. He's not versatile. Nobody is, but definitely not him. He's not versatile enough as an artist to do what he does in terms of musical output. I'm not saying he has to take a break for like years and years and years, like he's Frank Ocean or Kendrick, but put some time in between your drops, because it's just like, it's too much. It's too much. It probably makes him a lot of money. He does streaming services. He's got a rabid fan base, but it's too much. So yeah, I didn't listen to the album. I heard it was good though. We'll probably come back to it, but yeah, it's too much. Anyways, him and Durk were feuding. He told Durk to move off his release date. Durk ended up moving off his release date, but I think that's because Durk was never going to drop, to be honest, on Friday. That was just kind of hype. He did drop the J. Cole song, All My Life, which was actually good. I wasn't sure. I heard the snippets. I was like, I don't know how I'm feeling about this. But you know what? Ended up actually being pretty solid. I enjoyed it. It was solid. Of course, Cole, on any type of introspective he's going to make, that's going to hit. Durk can sometimes be hit or miss. But you know what? He put in a solid shift on this one as well. I'm very interested to see what Almost Healed with that title, with the concept, with this is a single. I'm very interested to see what this is going to be like next week. So yeah, we'll talk about Durk and his album next week. Maybe YoungBoy. I still haven't seen Guardians because my life is way too hectic currently. But maybe, just maybe, I will get to see it this week. Maybe, please. I want to see the movie. I heard it's good. It's doing really well. So please, just life, a break. Let me go see Guardians. But Durk, Cole, Handle Business All My Life. Go check it out. They're not paying me for promo, but go check it out anyway. Okay. Oh boy. Yep. This is the one. This is the one. Look, there's no need to hide it. There's no need to NBA. Throw it up, Chris and Anthony. Throw it up, please, because there's no need to hide it. Y'all know what this is. All right. Y'all know what time it is. So if you haven't gotten your drink, you haven't gotten your food, go get it. All right. Pause the video right now and go get it. Cause strap in. Cause this is gonna be one of them ones. All right, this is gonna be one of them ones. Cause the past week in the NBA has been ridiculous. All right, and we got too much to talk about. But here we go. Hopefully my voice does not go shot by the end of this. Affirmed. All right, you're back. You unpaused the video. Let's get it. Okay. Denver, Phoenix. You know what? I'm big enough as a man to admit when I was wrong. And I don't miss often, if ever. But you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong. And I'm paying the Nuggets their respect. They deserve their respect. And you know who else deserves respect? Nikola Jokic deserves respect. Okay? Because I'm not feeling enough love for Joker. Okay? And what he's done in his career. He is not acknowledged enough for me. He's not. He had 32, 10, and 12. By the way, this game was never close. Once again, like I said, I think 2 weeks ago or last week, this playoffs has been all or nothing. Blowouts or super close game comes down to the wire. No in between. No in between. Somebody's getting 30 dropped on them. Or we're, down to the last shot. All or nothing. This was nothing. Okay? This game was never close. The Suns didn't show up. which is classic Phoenix Suns. Let's be honest, classic Phoenix Suns. They never show up. In elimination games, disappeared, vanished. Thanos snapped out of thin air. They're gone. Never heard of them. Never see them. Where are they? I've never seen in my life. In my lifetime, I have never seen the Phoenix Suns show up to an elimination game. Ever. Certainly not in this current era. One day, maybe. Just one day. All of the talent in the world. No bench. Which, became their undoing. But all of the talent in the world. Devin Booker playing at a historic rate. Didn't matter. Still didn't show up. Joker, like I said, he needs his respect. 32, 10, and 12. Another triple-double for him. He is one of the greatest centers to ever touch a basketball. One of the greatest. Ever. End of story. One of the greatest centers of all time. Affirmed. I will not be hearing arguments. 2 MVPs, and after what Embiid did yesterday, which we will talk about, you could argue 3. Should have been 3 in a row. One of the greatest to ever do it at the center position. Jamal Murray has to show up for the Nuggets to be great, and guess who's been showing up? Jamal Murray. 26, 4 and 4. KCP dropped 21. But KD went 8 for 19. Devin Booker went 4 for 13. The only person that showed up for the Suns was Cameron Payne. Cam Payne. 31. So as a result, Monty Williams got shown the door. He was fired, yesterday or 2 days ago? And I'm not really surprised. I like Monty. It's probably not his fault. It might just be a culture thing for the Suns. But it's inexcusable at this point. You have all of the talent in the world. By the way, DeAndre Ayton, not a star. Absolutely not a star. And probably not deserving of any type of contract he is demanding. Because like I said, Jokic, one of the greatest to ever do it. But you were the number 1 overall pick. You were the number 1 overall recruit. You were supposed to at least make it competitive. And you got bitched. You got bitched. Straight up bitched. Nikola Jokic made DeAndre his bitch in this series. Not even in this game. Because forget the game. He didn't even play. I don't even know when he got hurt. He didn't even play. He didn't play. CP3 was injured, so alright. But I didn't even play. Get him out of here. Soft. Charmin. It's the playoffs. Suns still have no spine. I don't know if they're ever going to get one. Nuggets, they're moving on. Suns are a laughingstock. And, we need to examine some things, I think, about Kevin Durant's legacy. Because he's always been that number 2, right, behind LeBron of this era. But maybe Steph Curry's more deserving. He's got the accolades for it, too. KD just, as the guy, he's just never been able to get it done. Love KD. But he's just never been able to get it done. And that's not me hating. That's just fact. He's one of the most talented players off of pure talent ever. But when it gets down to it, is he the guy you want leading your team to a championship? Because he has not proven to be able to do it. Not once. Ever. Let's go to the East. Miami and New York. At least New York went out on their shield. Because Miami is still the greatest AFC to ever do it. They win 96-92. Jimmy Buckets and Bam, though a very inefficient, if I say so myself. But it doesn't matter because they got the win. 24-8 for JB. JB of Miami. And Bam had 23. Jalen Brunson, however, went out on his shield. Like I said, the Knicks went out with a fight. Unfortunately, he was the only one and he was carrying. And they still only lost by 4. So imagine what happens if he had help in this game. He had 41. But the other 2 players that are supposed to be beside him, oh boy. 3 for 14, Julius Randle. 1 for 10 for RJ. Hell, the non-Jalen Brunson starters for the New York Knicks went 5 for 32. 5 for 32. in an elimination and then lost by 4. If one other starter could have chipped in 20, they would have won the game. They would have won the game. They'd have sent it to 7, but they couldn't get that. No, they couldn't get that. And the Heat are some savages. They're dogs. They got that dog in them. Their culture wraps around Spo and jammy buckets, and they gonna show up. I can almost count. When it gets tough in the playoffs, this Heat team is going to show up. They're going to go down fighting, if they're going to go down at all. Jalen Brunson's got that dog. The Knicks need to find some dogs and some players that are going to show up when it matters with some consistency. Randall is talented. RJ is talented sometimes. But they're not the answer. Build around Brunson and maybe you can make something happen. They were close, but not good enough. Heat advance. LA, Golden State, end of an era. LeBron versus Curry, possibly for the last time. And it was a great series. But once again, welcome back to All or Nothing featuring the NBA playoffs, and this was nothing. The Lakers blew the Warriors out. All right? And we all kind of said it. I was wrong about this game, by the way, because I was terrified for the Lakers. It was like, oh boy, I've seen this movie 100 times. I know where it's headed. Word to Drake. Warriors got the momentum. But you know what? The king is still the king. And he is still one of the 2 greatest players to ever do it. In whatever order you want to put it. 39-9 for LeBron with 1 foot once again. Here in Game 6 to say, yeah, no, we're not doing this Game 7. We're not going back to Oracle. It's done. Finished. Okay? 39-9 for Bron. AD had 17 and 20. AR chipped in with 23. Curry had 32, but nobody else showed up for the Warriors. It was almost reminiscent of Jalen Brunson. Shout out to Game 6 Clay, though. Famous Game 6 Clay. 3 for 19. 3 from 12 from 3. Great job. Great job, Clay. He's done. All right, Clay's finished. Okay? I'm going to say it. He could probably be like a solid, like, off the bench, like, sniper, because he can still hit it a couple times, but this isn't 2015 Clay. This is not 2016 Clay. Hell, this is not 2017 Clay. Clay is done. He's done. He's finished. Finito. Done. Salute. Gone. It's done. Over. Clay is done. So, yeah, I don't know where the Warriors go from here, but I'm not saying the dynasty is dead, because we've done this before, but it's holding on by a thread right now, and they're not getting any younger, okay, and Chef's not getting younger. Even though he's still great, he's not getting any younger. They need changes if they want to make something happen, but yeah, when AD and Bron finally link up a good game like this, the Lakers are deadly. It's going to be a very interesting series versus the Nuggets. I can see it going either way. I know a lot of people are like, yo, the Nuggets are a bad matchup for the Lakers, but I don't agree. AD is one of the best defensive, if not the best, defensive players in the league. Him versus Jokic is going to be very interesting. Very interesting. Lakers got some players that can go. Nuggets got some players that can go. Of course, LeBron is the X factor here in what he can do. I think this is going to be a very interesting series. Game 1 tomorrow or tonight. And, yeah, it's going to be a very, 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 very interesting series. But, yeah, it should be a good one. Should be a good one. We'll see what happens. No prediction because I think it's too close to call. But, yeah, Lakers earned it. Nuggets earned it. Let's go. Who would be facing the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Final? Game 7. The Celtics and the Sixers, and boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What do we say? All or nothing, and we get nothing again. Nothing from the Philadelphia 76ers. Absolutely nothing. Nothing from Joel Embiid with his 5 for 18 and 15 and 8. The MVP. Joel Embiid. The process. Best center in the league. Allegedly. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. James Harden, the beard. One of the greatest offensive threats of all time. 9 points. 9. Not 10. Not 11. Not 12. 9 points for the beard in Game 7. Doc Rivers would be ripping his hair out, but he has none. And by the way, this is just what Doc Rivers does. He's 6 and 10 in Game 7s. He blows leads like it's his profession and not coaching. This is what Doc Rivers does. No surprise. So no surprise. However, Jason Tatum, you know, Curry had that record for, you know, most points in the Game 7. We were like, oh, man, what an accolade for Chef. Yeah, that's gone. Okay, Jason Tatum had 51 in Game 7 because superstars show up when superstars are supposed to in the playoffs. Except for Joel Embiid and James Harden. But you know who did? JT. After a god-awful Game 6, except for when he turned up big time in that fourth quarter, he went off. He was having none of that in Game 7. 51, 13, and 5. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, Game 7 performance of all time by one player. And yeah, closes out, sends his team to the Eastern Conference Final. Once again, the Celtics, like I said, JB and JT can work. It can absolutely work. They can win the championship this year. They just got to make sure it all connects. But when JT is JT in the fashion he was yesterday, dangerous, dangerous team. JB had 25, but this was all about JT. Let's be real. 50 ball in Game 7. Unreal. Shout out to the boy. The MVP, however, was non-existent. And, yeah, the Sixers are going to have to take a long, long look at themselves about what they want to do as a franchise because nothing has been working. And this championship window is not going to last forever. It's not. Harden's probably not going to be back. Embiid, you got to build around him. Maxey probably can stay, but what else? You need to build, and you need to build now because, yeah, Embiid has an injury history already. Don't know how long this is going to last. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with Philly. We'll see if Doc's back next year, but I don't know. But to end our NBA segment, we have to talk about the return. Now, John Wick is one of my favorite movie franchises, so it only makes sense that John Wick has a sequel. We got a sequel to John Wick 1. We got John Wick 2. John Wick returns. 4K trade John. He back. He back. For why, I don't know, but he's back. I'm not really surprised, but he's back. And it's a shame. It's really a shame. You know? Why he wants to live that lifestyle, I don't know. When you have that much money at stake, you have a Nike contract, you're a multi-millionaire. Why? You have a daughter. Why? Why are you flashing? There's nothing wrong with owning a gun. This is America, okay? There's nothing wrong with owning a gun. Why you were flashing a gun in a video as an NBA player, I do not understand. I do not know the obsession. Stop trying to live that life. Stop trying to live that life. You are not a trapper. This is not the projects. You probably live up in a mansion. Stop trying to live that life. You do not want that life. You don't want that life. I was blessed and fortunate enough to never have to live that life. But I've seen friends that came up in that life, did not make it out of that life, are still in that life. While I was getting this, they are back home living that life. I'm not an NBA star, but I bet if you ask them, they would rather be in my position. That life is not the glamour that he thinks it is. People die about that life. And people do not want to be in that life. They want to be where you are. Those people that are in that want to be where you are. So I don't understand. I don't. You have too much at stake and you have done too much to throw it away. There is nothing wrong with being friends with them. There's nothing wrong with any of that. Nothing wrong with the gun. Nothing wrong with living you want to be 4K trade, that's fine. But you're going to be 4K trade and you're just going to be a hooper. You are not a trapper. You are not robbing nobody. You are not going to kill nobody, Ja. You are not throwing on a shiesty mask to hit a lick at 2 o'clock. You're not doing that. You're not. You're not. You have a daughter. Do you want to go back to the trap? Do you want to take Kyrie and go back to the trap? And go live in the projects? Go live in the lower income neighborhoods? Sleep with one eye open. Is that what you want? Or do you want your mansion and your fame and your fortune and all of the blue checks? The fair fight. The stuff that gets you with these rappers. That gets you all of this. Everything you got. All of the money. Because he's going to have to make a decision. Because he can't keep living like this. Because Uncle Phil not going for this. He's not going for this. He's not going to go for this. And the Memphis Grizzlies, as much as they love you, they're not going for this. You are living the life people dream of. And you're not like a benchwarmer or barely. You are a superstar. A young superstar. The world is in your hands. But you don't want it, apparently. Figure out what you want to do with your life. It's pretty obvious to everybody else except for you what you should do. So I truly hope Ja Morant figures out what he wants to do. Because right now he's wasting a lot of people's time, money, effort, and prayers. That's all I got to say about that, man. That's all I got to say. Now, on a slightly more happy note, welcome to the Roundup. NASCAR, no F1. So no Red Bull winning this week. But I'll probably be back next week. Nonetheless, we were at the Lady in Black this week for NASCAR. William Byron, Willie B, gets his hat trick of wins for the year. All thanks to Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain taking each other out. And one of the most predictable, I mean, it was obvious, all right? By the way, thrilling finish to the race, all right? Really thrilling. But, yeah, it was so blatantly obvious those two were going to wreck each other, all right? They were dying to put each other into the wall, and eventually they did. Eventually they did. Now, I'm not going to pass judgment on whose fault it was. You know, the whole Ross thing versus Hendrick. I'm not gonna do it. All right, y'all can say who it was. I'm not gonna say it. All right, I'm not even going to imply. Y'all got it. Okay, y'all got it. I'm too connected, so I can't say anything. So yeah, y'all got it. All right, y'all argue about it. But yeah, it was obvious. Like I was like, William Byron is in a great position. I was like him, Harvick, and I think it was Chase. I was like, y'all are in great spots. Because these two aren't making it to the finish. And sure enough, didn't make it. But you know what Willie B did? He's been a smart racer his entire career. And yeah, he made the right moves. He gets his third hat trick. Listen, Hendrick have 3 championship level racers on that roster. Chase and Kyle have won one. The way Willie B's moving this year, I would not count him out this year getting his. So yeah, we will see what happens. But he continues to be great. Influencer boxing, or just boxing as they would rather me say it. KSI, Fournier, actual boxer, he knocked him out. Now, it was an elbow, not on purpose, but it was a vicious elbow, and it was a highly real KO. Unfortunately, this is boxing, and the elbow is illegal, so this probably should be a no contest, but KSI was outclassing him. He looked better. He's gotten better every time I've seen him fight. Credit where credit's due. Yeah, Anthony Taylor, who looked god-awful when I've seen him fight, he took out Salt Poppy, who a lot of people were writing as the next big thing in influencer boxing. Yeah, that didn't work out. That did not work out. But, yeah, Taylor beat Salt Poppy. Tommy Fury showed up, of course, to hype the fight versus KSI. And then Idris Virgo has been clout chasing, to put it as bluntly as I can, clout chasing since the moment he got voted off of Love Island. The man is lusting for fame. He's been trying to get into influencer boxing for a minute, but he just has absolutely no relevance. However, he tried to start him up by fighting Tommy Fury. Tommy engaged him and will probably beat his, to be completely honest. But nonetheless, yeah, Idris, that's not happening. Tommy versus KSI, probably the next fight. We will see what happens. UFC, which was in the 704 in my home. In my ends, Jolton Almeida, yeah, another heavyweight contender, which I'm loving. I'm loving. Heavyweight needed it, all right? They needed the new blood, and Jairo Rosenstrike, acclaimed gatekeeper, said, you know what, you may pass. And I mean, he literally couldn't believe it, because he was shaking his head while he was in that submission. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me. But, yeah, Almeida, really good ground game. That's what BJJ looks like. Hey, Kron Gracie, yeah. This is what BJJ looks like when you combine it with wrestling, and this is how to properly do it in mixed martial arts, okay? This is what it looks like when it's all put together. But yeah, Almeida looks like he might be a savage. We might have one of them ones. We will see, but we will be watching his career with great interest. Ian Gary had a vicious leg kick KO of D-Rod, Johnny Walker, UD'd Anthony Smith in the co-main. Yeah, Carp is okay. But it was cool to get one in Charlotte for the first time in a couple years. So yeah, sick. Almeida looks like he might be one of them bloods. And who wants some boxing corruption? Yes, y'all have always come to me like Chris, especially with influencer boxing. They're like, oh my goodness, Jake surely couldn't have won that fight, or so and so surely couldn't have won that fight. It was a fake. It was a fake. This was, you want an example of boxing corruption and some BS? Here you go. Rolly Romero got the worst stoppage of all time. The worst stoppage of all time, simply because he's marketable and they wanted to give him a 140 title. Not that I think Rolly is not potentially a good fighter. He's still developing. But come on, bro. That stoppage was garbage. Rolly was getting his beat for 10 rounds. He gets a little bit of success. The fight starts heating up a little bit. His opponent didn't even look shook. And you just gave it to Rolly. For what? For what? For what? Blatant corruption. Blatant corruption because he has a name. And a character you can market. He is a fraudulent champion, but you know what? The WBA, or was it the WBC? Anyways, they get the champion they want. It was a horrific stoppage. It made absolutely no sense. But there's your boxing corruption. So, if you want an example of what corrupt boxing looks like, there you go. You can just go back to that example for future reference. But, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 145. Yeah. It's a new era. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. It's been a big week for me. Sorry about my voice. But, yeah, graduation. And now the chains are unlocked. Expect a lot more of this face on this channel. And, yeah, a lot more activity and getting straight to it. Trying to make this the best we can and keep growing. But, yeah, without further ado, Ocho, signing off.